Welcome to the Barely Educated Podcast. We are on episode 112, and we are at the right before the beginning of the regular season. We are 6 days out from Chiefs Lions, and then Bears Packers a few days after that. So it's coming, Mark. It's coming. How you been?
I'm good, just getting the swing of things with the new semester going.
Yeah.
Glad that football's almost here, maybe. I mean, I may not be glad, really. But there's things to be excited about. There's concerns too, but we want to try to preview the league and get into a, I guess the bigger picture this episode, and then we'll do a Packers preview next Friday. Bears
Yeah.
Packers preview.
Yeah. You want we can do you have any thoughts on the roster we can get to later as well? Maybe some surprises or some
Yeah, there's a
things.
few things to talk about there.
Yeah. But first, what we're gonna do is pick our division winners and conference representatives and all that stuff that is completely pointless but fun to do nonetheless. So
Predictions sure to go wrong,
that's
friend.
right. All right. So you want to start with the AFC or NFC? How do you
Yeah,
want
let's
to do
start with
this?
the AFC. Let's do the
AFC.
AFC, NFC, end with the North because we'll spend the most time on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All
What a
right. I'm
shock.
I'm writing all this down.
Okay, he's got it, folks. So accountability is here.
That's
I will
right.
say at the before we start it, okay, so like the tricky thing is how do you account for regression, right? The old
Hmm.
regression to the mean baseball kind of term definitely
Yes.
applies here. For example, the Lions only had 15 turnovers last year. They're probably going to regress to the mean. The Vikings winning all those close games.
Yeah.
Teams that were very healthy at key spots, like an entire O line, like Detroit's O line was basically healthy. How do we factor that in? How do you factor in potential injuries? I think we should only really expect injuries for players that are being counted on that seem to be hurt all the time, like David Bakhtiari or someone like that.
Kevin
But otherwise,
Jenkins.
otherwise everything is basically contingent on health because it's not
Yeah.
met and we can't turn injuries off, which is a shame.
Yeah. I think we'll just gotta go like the starters now are gonna make it through. That otherwise we could end up with stuff all over the map in terms of
Yeah,
prediction.
and we don't want to constantly say if healthy, blah blah blah.
Right. Right. Right.
The
It's
other thing I wanted
implied.
to
It's
note.
out there.
Yeah, unless they're really risky, really like relying on someone who maybe is pretty shaky for a couple years running.
Mm.
The other thing I wanted to note was it's September 1st as we record this. I feel like there are two big fish on the trade market, and
Okay.
we just have to assume that they're going to be on their current teams. Chris Jones, I think, will get done. He's too good, and they're too good to risk it, right? He's like the heart and soul of the defense.
Right.
I'd be stunned if he was traded. Sign me up for that trade, by the way, as a Bears fan.
Yeah.
And
Seriously.
But Mike Evans, just this morning, they're not getting anywhere in the extension talks. He's given
Mm.
them a hard deadline of next week before the game. That is a real solid mid-season trade candidate right there, ladies and gentlemen, because
Yeah.
they're going to be bad, and he's good enough to make a difference for another year or two. But if you're rebuilding, you can see why they wouldn't want to lock him up at starting at age 31.
Hmm.
So that those kind of moves would be a monkey wrench in the whole process. But for now, we'll just assume he stays put.
I think that's wise. Yeah.
But like for a team like the Jets, he could make a huge difference if he's there in week 4 or something.
Very
So
true. Yeah. Now that they got a quarterback,
that's right. Do we still have to
unfortunately,
hate him, or can we enjoy
I
the
don't
on-field version?
know. Yeah.
I
One
can't
of my,
decide because I definitely hate how dumb he is about stuff like COVID. Totally
yeah.
hate. Thanks, Mr. Expert. Go back to playing for a living, please.
Right.
Same thing when actors try to tell me what we should think of important social topics. It's like you pretend for a living.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Exactly.
Let me listen to the experts on this stuff.
You
But it would be
pretend for
nice
a
to be able to
living.
like see him make a ridiculous play and be like, I don't hate this with every fabric of my being.
Yeah, I got a good friend back home who is all set to cheer for Rogers now because he is a fellow conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, who hates the Packers, but now he's all set for to cheer on Rogers. It's kind of funny. So
Yeah, I don't know if I'm all set to cheer him on, but I'm looking forward to not having to hate all the Jets primetime games. Like you always hated it when the Packers were on. They're gonna get like
yeah,
5, right? Or whatever it is. At any
Probably.
rate, I guess that means we've started with the AFC
Yes.
East.
The EFC East, yes.
I think this is a loaded division.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have three legitimate contenders here. I don't think the Patriots are because their offense isn't good enough.
How
Their
funny is
defense
that?
is always good though. That defense always
Mm-hmm.
plays.
How
Isn't
funny
that
is that
weird?
the Patriots are the team in that division that you're not expecting? It's been a while since we said that.
Yeah, true. So I've got the Patriots, I think, last, even though you kind of feel weird doing that with Belichick and the defense. I
Mm-hmm.
just know that they're explosive enough on offense. And that's like a humongous part of the league at this point, as everybody knows.
Yeah,
Miami, very explosive if the quarterback can play.
yeah.
And that's kind of one of those injury ones like we were talking about earlier. Like I'm on record as being kind of worried for him. That those couple concussions last year were pretty nasty. I mean, I don't know if all concussions are equal, but the one where he gets up and stumbles and kept playing, like that was
That was
brutal.
scary.
And
Yeah.
those things can keep happening. So yeah, contenders if he's playing, but I can't feel great about that proposition. So I guess I've got them under the Jets and Bills, even though by talent I don't think there's much of a gap there.
I would agree. Yep. For those reasons. And he's the third best quarterback of those three
True.
other teams. So yeah.
He's got the best wide receiver room, but the others still have pretty good receivers.
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson was my favorite receiver in that draft, and he's been great, pretty great as a rookie with bad Jets quarterbacks. I feel like he'll feast with Rodgers.
Yeah, they had a pretty complete roster except for quarterback. So
That front
mm-hmm.
seven is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner plus the refs allowing pass interference is a nasty lockdown corner.
Yes.
So who do you got between the Jets and Bills? And it sounds
I
like you're in agreement that it should come down to them.
Bills. I still think they're the Josh Allen is the best quarterback in that division. Yeah, I think the Jets have to prove that they're better than them.
Yeah, I think you have to see what the Jets do over the first month and see how it comes together.
Yeah.
To a certain extent too. And I think the Bills, they're kind of, I guess this is giving away later, what big surprise. They're like the Chiefs for me at this point. I'm done picking against them to win the division until someone proves otherwise.
Yep. That's
And
where I am.
Allen was great last year until he hurt his elbow, and then he was kind of human and made a lot of mistakes for a little bit there, but he looked good against the Bears again. Like he looked healed, and I don't think he ever got over the elbow thing last year. But
Well,
now he looked like himself when they marched right down the field, and he's throwing weird running throws where he throws across his body a half middle of the field. And you're like, you're not supposed to, and it's a first down.
but against that vanilla Bears defense, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't even remember who was in a point for that play, but I'm just saying like he looks like his normal cannon armed self, whereas like, he didn't quite look right at the end of the year last year. But yeah, I got the Bills there. All right, AFC North, you go first.
I don't see how you can say the Bengals aren't the best team there still.
Are they in the Bills Chiefs territory where it's prove me wrong? Someone else beat them.
Yeah, I mean the last two AFC title games have been Chiefs Bengals.
Best QB.
Yeah. So
great weapons.
Because of that, yeah, great wide receiver weapons. Yeah.
Love their defensive coordinator too. I can't believe he didn't get poached. I mean, he schemes up some nasty stuff. You know, that's the team the Chiefs are most afraid of.
Oh, of course.
That's got to be saying something.
Because they've beaten them once already 2 years ago. Yeah. So yeah, I got Bengals number one. Carson Palmer, I think.
What?
Maybe the best, traditional quarterback. I get like the sit in the pocket, picky apart.
Carson Palmer, huh?
Oh my gosh, not Carson Palmer.
Are you stupid or something?
Wow.
Yeah, if he had just stayed healthy.
Woo! Woo! Joe Burrow. Oh my gosh.
Joe Burrow, buddy.
I went into a 20-year
Palmer
time
is the
warp
best
there.
16-game quarterback we've got going.
Where did that come from? Wow.
Oh no.
You know, I really like what the Bengals can do on offense with Boomer Esiason.
Is that an early sign of dementia, you think?
No, you're good. Music helps fight that off.
I guess. Wow.
That's just the base intelligence. No slippage at all.
Woo.
All right, so Ravens, Steelers, Browns in that order for you? Now, Ray Lewis is no longer a Raven.
Shut up, man.
Do you watch football?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose so. 'Cause, I mean,
I think the Steelers and Ravens are both really good too.
Yeah.
If OBJ gives the Ravens anything, which I do think is a pretty huge if,
Yeah.
they're always well coached. They're always solid on defense, and Lamar's always good if he's playing. He was hurt a lot last year. It's like another guy where it's
Right.
like I feel like most of that was just like, nope, not risking it with the contract. But
Yeah.
that's a team you don't really want to bet against. And then Pittsburgh is so nasty up front
Right.
on the defense, and Pickett looks
Pickett
good.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really does look good. Former student Tim
Former student too.
will be happy that I'm pretty high on the Steelers. And it feels
Yeah.
weird to be high on a team that I'm suggesting is a second or third place team, but I do
Yeah.
think there's a real ceiling there.
So you'd go Ravens 2, Steelers 3.
Yeah, but I'm kind of like hair splitting to figure out which one's 2, which one's 3. And I
Okay.
think this is a really good division. Even
Yeah.
the worst team has some talent in the Browns.
Okay.
Like you can talk yourself into any of them having a good year and making the playoffs. Not that many divisions you can say that. All 4 teams could make the playoffs.
But
Like,
you like,
believably. I'm not saying all 4 will, but like you can get yourself to thinking the Browns could be a wild card team.
Achilles Smith and the Bengals running
Yeah,
away with
yeah,
the
yeah,
division.
very good.
Okay.
Mhm. Phenomenal draft pick, Achilles Smith.
Whew. Whew.
And Tim Couch and the Browns have a chance. Get to wear it out just the rest of the episode.
Ken Anderson, my friend.
All right, so we both have Bills, we both have Bengals, and we'll get to wild cards
Boring.
after we do the
Yeah.
other 2 divisions.
Sure.
AFC South, which is maybe on paper the easiest one to pick the division winner for me.
I'm assuming it's not the Colts. that
Not
you're
the
gonna
Colts.
pick.
Who are rebuilding. Although I like how Richardson has looked, if it matters at all. Like, there's definitely a ton of athleticism and arm talent there. He's
gotta
so
be-
raw though.
Got to be the Jaguars, right? They gotta be
Jaguars,
the-
yeah. Trevor
yeah.
Lawrence is awesome in the second half of the year. He's going to be awesome probably this year with
Mhm.
Calvin Ridley added in. Their defense may not be any good, but I don't think it's going to matter that much in this division.
No.
I mean, it's going to matter when they try to win 2 playoff games instead of 1 or whatever. But I don't think it matters for winning the division. They're going to win it.
Agreed.
Titans are doing one of those weird trying to rebuild but not be terrible things that are usually pretty spotty.
Yeah, they seem like could be just on either side of 500 to me. the
Yeah,
Titans.
same. Kind of like the Bears. And that's funny because they keep trading each other's players without trading. Right? Like
That's
they're
right.
signing them back and forth. Go Travis Gibson. You deserve to play in a scheme
Yeah.
that fits you. I'll
True.
be rooting
Yeah.
for it as a Nashville resident here. I
Oh
hope
yeah,
he does
you'll,
well.
you'll see him up close. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I get it, but I was disappointed because, but he's just better in a 3-4. He just is.
Hmm.
You do you like Houston or Tennessee second? Probably
I would
Tennessee.
say Tennessee, and then, gosh, I mean, does it even matter? Houston or Indy's worse? Both are playing rookie QBs. Both are rebuilding. It seems like the Texans have been rebuilding forever, and the Colts finally quit signing old QBs.
So they're going with Richardson,
Yeah.
the Colts. Oh, I missed
Yeah.
that.
So
Okay.
both those guys are starting for sure.
I figured Bryce Young would. 'cause-
Well, CJ Stroud for Texans, Young for the Panthers.
Oh gosh,
You suck, Chris.
I am off my game today, man. I'm not gonna edit out either one of those. Those are pure,
I got-
unvarnished.
I got Justin Fields and the Jaguars. And then- I don't think it matters at the bottom of that, right? Like, I don't know how you tell. They both are kind of meh. I guess I'll say the Texans, then the Colts, and I don't really have any idea why. Maybe because the
Yeah.
Texans was so feisty against the Bears last year that it's like,
Right.
and I just owe them for the number 1 pick and DJ.
Yeah,
Moore.
and maybe they've bottomed out already, and
Yeah.
the Colts haven't yet.
As much as I love Anderson, that was so stupid to trade there first, though, because it's going to be a top 10 pick. And they don't even own it now. Like,
Mhm.
but I still think they're probably better than the Colts. I don't know. They both stink. AFC West, gee, who could possibly win this division? However, if Chris Jones is out or traded, that defense falls real hard, real
Yeah.
fast. And as good as Mahomes and Reed are, you never pick against them at this point.
right?
They won't win the conference without Chris Jones. They could maybe still win the division.
Yeah.
And I think second is really obvious here too.
Yeah, but the Chargers, I assume.
Yeah,
But
but they're always hurt.
and they never seem to live up to the expectations. But
I
yeah,
think they're fun to watch. They play some of the craziest games. And they made they were a wild card team last year. Played a really fun game with the Jaguars. So I mean, I'm doing a lot of repeat playoff teams if I pick them for the wild card, but I still think they're better than the Broncos or Raiders.
yeah, and I like this Dan Fouts they have too.
Yeah,
With the-
well played.
Hey.
Plus, Ladainian Tomlinson just set the TD
Oh
record.
yeah, go LT. Yeah.
So okay, so AFC wild cards, or I don't know, Denver's last, Raiders third,
Okay.
something like that.
Got it.
Who you got for your wild cards?
Well,
Our division winners are pretty chalk.
we got 3, right? There's 7 playoff teams.
Yes.
So-
still that room.
I'm gonna go with let's see here. We had the same division winners. So
We do. It's kind
Um,
of lame.
that's all right. My wild card, I'm gonna go with the Jets, the Chargers, and I'm going with the Dolphins as the third one.
All right. I'm gonna go Jets as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to assume Watt's injury was a one-off and it's not an injury-prone situation, and I'm going to go Steelers.
Whoa! So 2 from the north coming out as wild card.
Yeah, and you got 2 from
Wow.
the East. There, that way we're different. But I think
Sweet.
Chargers are absolutely in the running, of course, and
Mhm.
so are the Dolphins. Like all those teams, the conference is a bloodbath because there's so many good QBs.
Yeah, definitely more than the NFC. That's for sure.
Go Bears.
Bears.
Right.
Yeah.
Your favorite
Okay.
division, the NFC East.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, Eagles.
Eagles are the most talented, and yet no one ever repeats as champions of this division,
That's true.
which is weird.
Actually, yeah. That's true.
I mean, they're still loaded. You could worry about the key players that are actually pretty old at this point, like Kelsey and Lane Johnson. But Hurts is terrific. He was the best player on the field in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. He was.
Receivers are still terrific.
And
I mean, that's a great roster still.
That's saying something too. That he was the best player on the field that day.
Hmm. Just to be different and just to irritate you, I'm gonna
No.
pick Dallas.
No. Okay.
I love their defense. I love Micah Parsons, one of my favorite non-Bears in the league, just to watch. Just does so much. Ridiculously explosive athlete.
Mm.
They lost Ezekiel Elliott, but that's a net win because of boneheaded plays that he is
Right.
guilty of.
Yeah, I don't think that hurts them.
And they added Brandon Cooks, who's finally like on a team with other good receivers and like a functional offense. Like he's always put up big numbers on terrible teams.
Mm-hmm.
And between him, obviously CD Lamb's the most important one, and Gallup, it's a great 3 receivers.
Indeed.
And
I'll-
Dak's good enough to make most of that, and the line's good. They got the contracts worked out with the guys who were fussy.
That is if
It's a
Trey
great
Lance.
roster with a crappy coach. That's the only thing.
True. Yeah. Very true. And what if Trey Lance starts? No, that's not going to happen.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Some people think that, and I don't understand that. Some people are like,
I think they might be
Oh.
trying to like prepare him for a couple years from now if they.
that would make.
It's a shot in the
sense.
dark for like not having to extend Dak in 2 years, but
Yeah.
I mean, usually if they start off this bad, they don't get better.
Are they going
Yeah.
to try to use Lance as in like some gadget plays or something? Because he's
Maybe.
pretty strong and pretty fast.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe like when he's up to speed on the offense. But I'll take Dallas just because of the teams don't repeat and they're definitely talented enough.
All right, I'm
But
going.
again, the coach gives me so much pause there. Like I hate myself for doing that. I obviously have Philly 2.
Yeah.
And then do we agree Giants 3?
Yep.
Did you see where Chase Young still isn't cleared for contact?
I did not see that.
It's like, man, the Commanders' D line would be amazing if he was himself, but
right.
he hasn't played in over a year now. And their offense is starting an unproven quarterback, Sam Howell. Maybe he'll be good, but obviously you just have to look at the rosters right now and not project that kind of growth from a second-year starter. I mean, they seem like the worst team in that division.
All right, West or South?
Well, we got to skip to North, right? So I guess we'll do
Skip to North.
South. So it's
South.
otherwise in the same order as the other one. A lot of people giving the Falcons a lot of love. It's a fun young offense. I don't know what to make of Desmond Ritter. The Saints are always competitive, and they finally have a decent quarterback again.
I have no
It was
idea.
like the last year of Breeze was not really a good quarterback,
True.
and then you had the years without him. And so I'm going to take Carr and the Saints to win an ugly division.
Okay. I'll go with that too. I got nothing better to
And
suggest.
then the Falcons, who are on their way up, but maybe not there yet, because I just can't until I see what Ritter actually is.
And then Panthers. After that,
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be the Bucks because of the Bears getting the Panthers pick. The
I
Panthers
know
defense
that'd be
is still
nice.
good. Their offense could be really bad, and Bryce Young could be good, and the offense could still be bad.
Mhm.
Look who he's throwing to. Oof.
Yes, and as we all know, Bryce Young is on the Panthers, not the Texans. We all know that.
Yep,
We
I
all
took
remember
that one
that.
before you could struggle with it.
Looking out for your elders. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
How dare you, sir?
Here, Chris,
Both
here's
these
your
teams
chair,
aren't very
Chris.
good,
Here you go.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird to think of Tampa as terrible after 2 years removed from a Super Bowl,
Right.
or I guess 3 now, start of the 3rd. But they're pretty terrible, right? And they could be
Yeah.
a total fire sale. I got to pick them last just because I'm assuming
Same.
they're gonna not push guys that are hurt, and they're gonna trade a guy or two. And Panthers are like in year 1 of a rebuild, where the Bucks are about to be in it. Like,
Right. They haven't bottomed out yet.
yeah, and they're going to now.
Yeah, Panthers have this.
NFC West.
NFC West. Well, I know for sure it is not the Cardinals. They
I don't think it's the Rams either. They got like 52 rookies,
whew.
and Cup is still hurt. Do you see that? He's not
Oh
back
no,
yet.
I didn't see that.
Dude, they're
Ooh.
terrible. No draft
Yeesh.
picks has finally caught up with them.
So you're saying Matt Stafford got his one ring and his only opportunity? Is that
Pretty much. Congratulations
okay.
to him. But I got Cardinals are the worst team in football. Rams are gonna be bad. Seahawks are pretty good, sneaky good, and the Niners are excellent if the quarterback gives them it.
Yeah, I'm going with the Niners first, just because that roster is so good.
They're like injury proof. They kick butt even when guys go down.
even with
And
their
yet they made like the biggest mistake in forever with trading 3 firsts for Trey Lance, and they're still loaded. It's unreal.
Yeah, and I mean Brock Purdy showed some good things, but I mean that's still
We
not
still have
unknown,
questions.
right? Yeah, exactly.
But like he doesn't screw up much, and that's about all you have to do with that roster.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Process quick, get the ball out, and let them go to work.
Where's George? George, and then just hit George.
Love the Bears.
Okay, to the beloved.
Dun 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 dun. Okay,
Hang
I-
on.
can I
We
put
gotta
a
go.
4 next to the Packers just to start us out?
We should start with who you think is last.
It's got to be Green Bay, right? Right.
I mean, I hope.
I
This
mean,
division is weird. Okay, the North is really weird, and I don't just say that as a Bears fan. You can make a case for any team to win it. You got to really squint for a couple. You can make a case for some serious regression for the 2 teams that were the best last year.
mhm.
And it's I think one of the few divisions, maybe the only, where you can say, I think any of these teams could win it. Most divisions have like nope. Both Norths are probably the like most competitive, but the North has not got a team that you're like taking seriously to win more than one playoff game. Or
Yeah, and at the
isn't
same
it weird? But they could all win
it is, yeah. And at the same time, I don't see a bad team.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no Rams, Cardinals, or not Falcons, Bucks.
You know,
I don't know what to think of Green Bay. Jordan Love is unproven. He looked all right in the preseason. Who cares?
yeah, and
And
not
there's-
against first stringers though all the
Yeah.
time. You know, so,
Their
yeah.
lines are really good. But they also got 3 guys they count on those lines who do qualify for the injury concerns point.
Yeah.
Bakhtiari, Jenkins on offense, and why am I drawing a blank on his name? Not Kenny Clark. He just destroys the Bears. He's always healthy. Rashawn Gary.
Yes.
All 3 of those guys have missed time, and Bakhtiari misses it like crazy.
Yeah, every year. Well, for my own meatball's sake, I'm putting a 4 next to the Packers.
That's fun.
And I think the Lions are gonna be the ones to come out on top.
Yeah, I think the Lions still have the top to bottom best roster, and I'm trying to
Mm.
be consistent. And it's the Lions, all over themselves. That's like funny, right? We have fun with that.
We do. Yes.
The past prior to this regime has really no bearing on anything
Correct.
unless the players let it get in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think they are the most complete roster. I don't think they have enough explosive playmakers to be a threat for the conference. They're like slowly march down the field with Amon-Ra St. Brown as a first down machine, and they're going to count on a rookie running back who's sub 200 pounds to be the explosive playmaker. He might have a couple games like that, but man, running backs under 200, not a great history.
Nope.
So, but I
thank
just
you.
don't think the Vikings are better or the Bears.
Nope. I agree. And also I think the Bears have to prove that they're gonna be above third. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings third.
What?
I'm sorry, Vikings second. Bears
Yeah,
third.
okay. I was
That's
gonna
what
say,
I
wait,
meant to
did I mishear that?
Sorry.
Yeah, and I was trying to be different from you, but this is really what I think as well, because Minnesota's doing the rebuild on the fly thing,
Yeah.
but they're loaded at receiver.
Mhm.
First round draft pick paired with the best receiver in football ought to work out pretty well. And yeah, they lost Dalvin Cook, but I don't think he was really Dalvin Cook anymore.
Yeah.
Not the way they used to use him. They wouldn't have used him anyway. I don't like their secondary at all, but they got new defensive coordinator. Unlike Green Bay, who's sticking with the same one who totally underachieved last year. By the way, tons of talent on that defense, 8 first rounders, and they were mediocre, and they kept the coach. Minnesota
that's a
is
shame.
doing this weird in between thing, but and I know Kirk Cousins is like a meme and all. I actually think he's kind of funny now. Like he's like embraced the inner dad mode.
Yeah, good for him.
Good. He's
Absolutely.
always got a good year.
Yeah. Mhm.
He's super limited. He's not going to beat the Niners in the playoffs. I get it.
Right.
And they looked like crap against a Giants team that was like happy to be there, right? Last year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have stars at like important positions, and we don't know yet that the Bears do. I think DJ Moore is one, and we'll show it even
Right.
more this year. But I can't take the Bears seriously as a division winner until I see more from Fields and the coaches.
Yep.
And I love Fields.
Same. Yeah.
It's my quarterback.
And that brings me to my big dilemma all week. That first couple series against the Bills, he looked so bad, and it drove me nuts, man. Rewatching the all 22 and like the TJ O'Sullivan, or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
JT O'Sullivan. Yeah, there you go. Give you one back.
I don't know if that's quite the same as
No, it's okay though.
dropping
Like
20 years.
like
but
when
yeah.
like not throwing the ball is just killing me.
Mm.
I don't care if he throws picks. Force the ball if you have to. Throw some people open. Like Mooney's on a linebacker. That's a check at the line. I'm throwing there.
Mm.
Like he's got to be able to see that in a meaningful game. It could be that they said, look, we don't care if we get a weird matchup. I want you working the back shoulder. And he's like, oh, I would throw it there in the regular season. And he was like coached to do something different. We don't know. It's kind of far fetched though.
Right.
There were some really awful reps against the Bills that look like the seeing the field processing thing is still potentially an issue, and I'm dying for it not to be. Because that's the step, right?
That's the
And
step. Yep.
Until I see it, I can't be like, oh, they're gonna win the division. If we do get that step, then they could definitely win the division because he could be that good.
Right.
And it's not that I'm being a skeptic. I'm just saying I haven't seen it, so I'm not gonna pick him yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that's their path, right? That's what I mean when every team has a path.
Yeah, for sure. But I gotta agree with Danny Parkins, who this week on the Score said there's no reason to expect that Fields will be worse at that than last year.
True.
And when you couple DJ Moore and a healthy Mooney and adding Tonyan and all that, yeah. So that there's no reason to expect that it'll be worse or even at the same level. It should be better, and it most likely will be much better. But
we know not to get too high.
Right.
Exactly. We know not to get too high or too low from the preseason, but man, some of that all 22 until the last drive, and then it was better. But those first couple, it was like, ooh, these are all the bad habits, but maybe they just didn't care. Right. But we got to see it. We just have to see it. And if we don't see it, by the way, and they have 2 firsts this year and probably not again in Ryan Poles' tenure, you better believe he's going to be tempted to go get a QB.
Yeah.
At that point, it might be fair. It depends, right? If some of the receivers go down early, God forbid, and we're back to ESB and Dante Pettis, and it probably isn't. But they built a roster now, didn't last year, that says you should be able to pass for more yards as a team.
Right.
And that obviously is a big part of that is the play calling, but a big part of it is Fields snap, throw, snap,
Yeah.
throw. It's like watching the Niners preseason game. I know, who cares because it's not ones. The Brock Purdy snap, throw, snap, second, throw.
Yeah.
Get the dadgum ball out.
And
if
he
you hold
has
the
to
ball
do that.
to run, that's fine because he's great at that.
Yeah.
But it's when you just bail, like he just bailed sometimes against the Bills. The one we talked about that day before the all 22 is even out is the one that drives me nuts, where the pocket is clean
Yeah.
and he's still bailed. It's like, ooh, that just
Yeah,
better be a
those-
one-off. But
There
I'm
was no
worried
reason
that,
to. Yep.
that they have screwed him up for good, and I hope not. I don't think they did. I don't think we know that yet.
Yeah.
Just saying, if this is the make or break year, as much as we love him, I don't think he gets a fourth year starting without rookie competition. If he's not better in the passing game.
Right. Yeah. I agree. But again, I expect to see it. I'm 95, 96% sure.
And
that we
this
will
is
see
also
it.
really important historically because we can look at trends historically, right? Like what do players in this position at these ages do?
Mhm.
This is the year Hurts and Allen made their leaps.
Right.
And they
Mhm.
showed it right away. Jonathan Wood pointed this out on Twitter. Like they were balling first month and
Mhm.
kept it going. And if you don't show it your third year, the great ones show it usually their second year, frankly. But we do have the recent comps where it took a little longer because the team,
Yeah.
you know, the Bears being so bad, you could last year you can understand why it may take to year 3. But the idea that it'll be this year, next year, right,
And
is really far fetched historically.
year one was so bad though, because you had a lame duck coach with a lame offense who was stubborn, who was trying to shoehorn Fields into what the coach wanted to do instead of trying
Number one receiver who wasn't really trying very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to almost give him a mulligan for year 1, but he was still getting reps at the NFL speed, right? So like,
I'm not an idiot.
in terms of the numbers, you can excuse it, but he's just got to put it together now. I think he can.
Yeah, I think he will.
But until he does, I can't pick him. I mean, come on.
Yep. He's
And
got.
I still think their lines are potentially not great. We're back to the team for a second.
Well, and the fact that they traded a pick for a guy on the line, you know, who might end up being the center actually. Yeah.
By the way, he looks like he should be a Bear. He like just walked off the Saturday Night Live set. You know,
well, I think isn't he like from the suburbs? I thought I read.
Yeah,
that.
he's from somewhere south of Chicago, like right there.
Yeah,
can't remember where, but yeah, he's born and raised, and he hates the Packers. He said.
Oh, beautiful.
Dan Feeney. Okay, wild cards in the NFC before we run out of time on the Zoom.
I got Cowboys, Seahawks, and Vikings as my wild cards to go with the Lions, Niners, Saints, and Eagles winning the divisions.
Okay. Oh, so you did pick the Saints too.
Yeah.
I missed that. Yeah. That's fine. So we've got, obviously I'm just flipping the East. I got the Eagles as a wild card. I've got the Seahawks as a wild card because they're going to beat up on the bad teams in that division, and they're just solid. And then it's a dilemma. I really want to do the Falcons because it'd be fun with all their young talent, and I don't really want the Vikings in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and run with that. Plus, they also get to beat up on a bad division. That way we have a little bit of difference. But I don't really, I mean, I don't know enough about the rest of that roster on the Falcons. I'm just kind of trying to do something fun.
I know nothing. I almost said Falcons just based on what you said, but.
And I forgot the most important reason to pick the Lions. America needs a Dan Campbell playoff game.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We can all agree.
I totally agree. 100%.
All right, MVP.
Oh boy. Well, the easy idea would be
you can't pick Mahomes just because.
All right, I'm gonna go Josh Allen.
Okay, that's what I was gonna do. Kenny Pickett. Now I'll say Burrow then. If you took Allen, I'll take Burrow. Aren't we bold?
Well, yeah.
Well, we didn't pick Mahomes, so actually that is kind of bold.
Hey, and I didn't pick Fields, so are you proud of me?
You have done a really, really interesting job not being a homer in a week when I kind of needed someone to come along and be a homer.
Sorry.
I'm on my Bears ledge, man.
It's
all right.
Well, don't listen to the score because they are
I did quit,
guys,
actually, yeah.
The afternoon guys are ridiculous. Like, just
they'll be better once they see it come together.
Yep. Exactly. All right, we'll be back in a week to talk Bears Packers.
Bears Packers in a week. We are on Twitter at @barely_educated. You can find us with the same tag at our Buy Me a Coffee page. And most importantly, spread the word. Tell a friend. Have them check us out. This will be posted to YouTube and
Yep.
Spotify and podcast places. We have decided for like the live recordings where we can kind of interact with people, it's going to basically just be after games.
On
So,
Twitch.
It's a better sort of schedule, I think. So yeah,
Mhm.
we'll be back next week to talk Bears Packers.
You suck, Chris.
What in the blue was that? Have you lost your mind?
You are indeed a dip from Chicago.
You owe me an apology.
My Chicago Bears.
I love the Bears.